thought I'd take a moment to do an update on what it's like living with pernicious anemia. If you want to hear more about my story, I have this video right here where I talk about how I find out that I had pernicious anemia and I show you how I inject myself. But over the years, I've got a lot of different questions and it just seems that there's not much information online. So I thought I would just answer them from my experience. Of course, I'm just one person and your experience might be different. But sometimes it's just nice to realize that someone else out in the world may be having a similar experience to you, and that can help you feel validated and not so alone. So let's pop into it. Okay, so this was a question. Where do you get your injections from? For me, I just get them from my pharmacy. So my doctor prescribes me B12 and I go get them. And I normally get about 10 vials at a time because that's just easier for me to get a bunch. Now, over the years, depending on what my insurance is, has depended on how many vials of B12 I can get. So sometimes I've only been able to get like 5, and sometimes I've been able to get up to 10. Now, if I want to just pay the full price without my insurance lowering the price, then I could do that as well. This person also says that they get theirs from pharmacies like CVS, but they often go out of stock. I haven't had that problem. I was gonna say problem with trouble. I haven't had that problem that B12 has run out, but maybe there are certain areas or different countries where it's just not something that's supplied as frequently. If that was your case, I wonder if you could try and get more vials at once. Okay, are you using methylcobalamin? I am not good at saying these words. I am not, actually. I use, let's see if I can say this one, Cyanocobalamin. That one. That's the one I use. It's a synthetic version of B12 and I inject it into my body. So that's the one I use and it has been very effective for me. Okay, this one says, did you feel like you were in a dream state and had low vision? I feel so weird and lightheaded. I can't walk too much or I pass out feeling itchy and my heartbeat goes faster. So before I got diagnosed with it, I definitely did feel lightheaded a lot. My depression was really quite bad and I would have tingling like pins and needles, or my appendages would just go numb. But my biggest problem that became the most debilitating symptom, I also was very fatigued as well, but my most debilitating symptom was I felt so nauseous, like my stomach felt like it was bruised and so raw. And that's actually what led me to discover this. I ended up having a stomach ulcer, which I guess is somewhat common for some people with pernicious anemia. And that was the symptom that was the most trying for me. I felt like I was experiencing, morning sickness as a pregnant woman, but that was not the case. I never threw up though. I just felt like I was going to throw up constantly. It was horrible for me. This person says, how long did it take you to start feeling better? Honestly, it didn't take me very many injections until I started to feel an upbeat. But I would say it was a good 6 months until I felt like myself again. Yeah. And also the thing is, once you get into a rhythm, sometimes without meaning to, I will go longer than I need or than I should without injecting myself. And then I will start to have those symptoms come back. For me, the symptoms that come back first are feeling really fatigued, and I will not feel like I am in charge of my brain. And I will get this metal taste in my mouth. That actually has been a really, and my breath smells like metal. My husband will be like, oh, have you taken your B12? Because he'll smell this metallic smell on my breath. And that has been a really good reminder if I get off of track. Okay, this person said that they had injections, but the doctor started giving them pills. But I guess I haven't done that because I don't have the intrinsic factor, so my body can't absorb pills. I mean, the B12 in the pill, that's why I need to inject it. So I don't know. That isn't something I've tried. I've had success with the injections. This person said, what made you think it was B12 and not Hashimoto's? Honestly, what made me think it was B12 was my granny. I was talking to my granny and my symptoms were really similar to her mother. And her mother got diagnosed with pernicious anemia when she was far older. She was, a great grandma, I think, maybe a grandma at the time. And she just said, you need to go in and ask to get your B12 checked. And then if it's low, have them check for the intrinsic factor. So that's literally what I did. And I live in America. Everywhere's different with the health system. And while there are plenty of things I don't love about the American health system, something that I do appreciate, because the health system is a business, you can shop around for a doctor that will, help you find the things that you need to find and will support you in that journey. And I personally have just experienced really good doctors. However, I will say the 3 different doctors I've had, because I've moved multiple times, I have been the first person they've ever treated with pernicious anemia. So I don't know if it's uncommon here or if it's just not something they test for. So I don't know. But that's why I went after B12, because my granny suggested it. This person says, how have you coped? Are the injections painful and do they improve your symptoms? Honestly, it's a really easy thing in my experience to deal with. My body responds fantastically to the B12 injections. And I don't love injecting myself. I do find that I will inject myself in the same spot. I like to inject myself on my upper love handle. And I can feel that there is now some scar tissue on both sides. And I try really hard not to inject in the scar tissue because I've heard that that's bad. But the nice thing is it doesn't hurt because it's scar tissue. But I guess that's actually not very good. So I try and force myself to pop it in a place that's more tender. Don't love it, but it really does. It's very effective for me. And my symptoms have absolutely improved. I live a very, very normal life as long as I don't forget to take my injections. Currently, I take my injections every week to 2 weeks, or to 2.5, depending on the time of year and where I'm at in my menstrual cycle. So the winter, I tend to take my B12 more frequently. I don't know if it's because I live in a place that is very dark, I don't get much sunlight, I don't get to receive a lot of vitamin D in my body, and I don't know if that influences me, but I tend to need it more frequently in the winter than I do in the summer. And also if I'm say I'm on day 7 through 10 and I just start my period, I'm going to take my B12 pretty close to that, because with me entering that phase of my menstrual cycle, I'm just depleted of all the things that help me function really well, and taking that B12 is super helpful. So yes, I don't deal with any of the symptoms the way I did prior to not taking B12, and they will come on in, but they go pretty immediately. For me, if I take an injection, because say I've gone an extra week and I was just spaced and I didn't do it, and I start feeling I'll get lightheaded, I'll just not be feeling well, I'll just feel down, I'll feel absolutely exhausted, my body just stops functioning well. It is a good 24 hours until I feel it in my system, for me personally. What is your level? You know what? I actually don't remember the specific number, but I think it was the low hundreds is what I am thinking it was. The low 100s, whatever, because I think it can go all the way up to 250 or something. I don't know. I think it was quite low, but not like super low. I think some people can be like down in 50 or whatever. That's crazy low. Again, I don't really remember, and I am just me. I've only researched the things that have led me to get the help, and the help has helped me. So it's just my experience, not the smartest about it. This person, multiple people said they inject in their thigh, their arm, their bottom, love handle. And I just wanted to share, like, there are multiple places to inject. I choose my love handle. It's nice and squishy and it's easy for me to get there. That's worked really well for me. But other people have definitely injected in other parts of their body and seem to find success. And the last question that I thought was pretty funny is, what on earth is that accent? Sounds like a blend of Aussie and US. Yeah, my accent is a little bit wonky-tonky. I'm from England. I grew up there. And I moved to America when I was 18 to go to university, and then I ended up staying in America, and the accent is just this now. It's kind of its own thing, and it drifts in and out, and that's just what it is. When you live in different places and people don't understand what you're saying, you end up tweaking the way that you pronounce things so that you can be understood, and you just create an accent that belongs to you and nobody else. So that is what my accent is. Anyway, I hope this has been helpful. I definitely, for me personally, this has been a pretty easy thing to maintain and to take care of. I wonder as I age how it will shift. I'm currently 40. I found out, I want to say around 13 years ago, I found out. I was late 20s. Was it that long ago? Maybe it was 10 years ago. Maybe I was 30, I'm not sure. I'll need to look, but it definitely seems like a pretty easy thing, considering I know lots of people that are battling cancer and MS and other diseases and circumstances that seem far more overwhelming and really impact your life. For me, as long as I keep on top of my injections and I eat well, and I do eat pretty well, eat a lot of greens, and I don't eat much sugar at all or even flour, and I keep very active. I am a yoga and a Pilates instructor, and I'm very active in that regard. So I am taking care of my body. I really value sleep and make sure I get a lot of sleep. So I'm doing things to help my body be in a really good space. I think that absolutely helps too. But on the whole, it's been a simple path toward feeling better. That's my experience. I'd love to hear your experience, and perhaps it's very, very different, and that could be really helpful to other people watching the video, because they might not resonate with something I say, but something you leave in the comments could really help them feel seen, and maybe you could connect and help each other out as you try to find answers. Because when you feel sick and when your body's not working the way that you're used to it working, and you're not getting answers from your doctors, it can feel super, super lonely. And sometimes even a stranger across the world can absolutely help you feel seen, validated, and give you the courage to seek for more answers. So let's help each other out. Anyway, if you have any other questions, I don't know if I have answers, but I'd love to start a conversation with you. Okay? All right, bye.